Well, first and foremost, I appreciate you doing this. I know
Of
you're
course,
very
Kenya,
busy
stop.
and,
No.
have a lot of things going on. And I was just telling you earlier, my heart was
That
beating
is-
out of my chest.
That is absolutely nuts that you would be nervous.
Why? I mean, why would I not,
What is
though?
the difference of how you talk to me in regular real life versus how we're going to talk on a podcast?
I know. I just feel like you are like the interviewer of all interviewers. And it's just, there's a lot of pressure that comes with that.
Is it though?
For other people interviewing you, yes.
Well, it shouldn't be. I'm the same person that talks to you in the hallway in here than I talk. That's the thing, right? It's like to be the same, not to there be no separation.
Yeah. But
So-
it feels different when you're on the other side of the
I
mic.
guess.
There's
Okay,
a-
fine.
yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. So
But-
I'm just happy to be sitting here with you.
I'm happy to be here with you.
Yeah. And talking to you about
Thanks.
mom things. We're going to talk about mom things
I know. I
today.
never get to talk about mom things, so
It's
that's kind of fun.
Funny that you say that because I was trying to like do my research and Google around and see if I could find any interview with you talking about mom things. And I really couldn't find anything.
No, I've done a couple of things, but no, people just don't ask me about that for some reason. And then also, I think I'm careful too about my kids and what I share, but it's fine. I'm
Yeah.
not, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm careful too, but I feel like one of the things that I'm trying to get better at is being a little bit more transparent about like my stories and what I can share, which is what this podcast is all about. So
I'm all about that. You know that.
yeah,
I'm all about
it
that.
came along because there is an issue in Black and Latino communities when it comes to women of color and our experiences with like pregnancy and motherhood. And one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we created was a platform of resources where moms can go get the information and the resources that they need so that they can learn how to self-advocate for themselves. And it's a heavy topic, what's going on with the maternal health crisis.
Yeah.
So when I was thinking about like who I wanted to talk to, I was like, I got to lighten this up a little bit because I want it to be information and resources, but I want it to be inspiration too, which is
Yeah.
why I'm so happy to talk to you today because I think,
Thank you.
and I hope that this conversation is just going to help people and women who look like us, right, be inspired and that they can manage it all because you have a lot. You're a media mogul,
Yeah.
right? You're doing a lot of things and you're a mom, which is a super busy, important job.
Well, it's weird because so I have two sons, one who I gave birth to, and then my bonus baby, who lives with us and who I've been taking care of and been in his life since he's 4. And so my oldest, Nico, he's already in college. He's a junior in college. And then my youngest is a senior in high school. So next year he's out.
Yeah.
It's a very weird feeling to think there would be no child in my house. And I don't know if it's exciting or terrifying but it's like a new life.
Yeah.
Because becoming a mother and having to, I'll be their mother forever, but I don't know, something about your children not being in the home, it's a shift in life, a big one.
It's different.
And it's like all consuming when they're there. And, it's like you can't be out or do anything without being mindful of these human beings that you're responsible for that are in your home. You're still responsible for them when they're out of the home. But I don't know, there's something a little bit different about that. So I'm kind of like wrapping my brain around trying to figure out what that's going to be like.
Well, I'll tell
next
you, I
year.
just went through it.
you did?
I just dropped my baby off at college, 3 weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
My son is already done with school and it is weird. So it's been like a month without her like just not being in the house. And even though teenagers for the most part, they stay in their room and they like do their own thing.
It's different though.
It's different. Like the energy's different, and I
How
sit
is
home
that?
and it's bittersweet. Like I'm happy for her, but like I felt like I would have all this stuff to do and like all these places to go and I would just fill my time. But I don't know. It doesn't feel like I thought it was going to feel.
Yeah.
It's weird. I'm
Yeah.
still adjusting.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
And I think it's going to be like that for a little while.
It's all
until-
adjusting. When my son first went to school, I was like literally depressed. I talked about it, and I talked about that in a few interviews, and I think people laugh about it. Oh, ha, ha, she's sad. No, but I was like sad. I'm like, hello, no, I'm really sad. I know it's
Yeah.
funny. Oh my God, your kid's leaving. Are you gonna be fine? But I was like really sad because it felt like my life was like shifting, and I don't know. Just I was like 6 months before he left, I was so sad. And then he left, and then and then we're FaceTiming all the time and talking. I'm like, oh, he's still here. He comes home, and it's like you realize you're not losing your child to, you're just the living conditions are a little different.
Yeah, it's
it
different.
does shift. It is a big shift.
Mm-hmm.
But I quickly realized everything was fine.
Yeah.
But I was definitely went through like this is very sad.
Yeah, because they're your baby.
They're your babies.
Yeah, they're always your baby. What was it like when you found out that you were pregnant?
Oh, man. When I found out I was pregnant was unexpected, kind of. Because you know what you did to get pregnant.
Yeah.
It's not that surprise, but it wasn't planned. And but I was at a point in my life I was kind of ready.
Okay.
I had some success. I was in my 30s, like young 30s. I don't know. I just felt ready. I don't know. It didn't scare me so much. It was just like, oh man, this is kind of nuts. I think, I don't know. I always thought about when you have a child, you could have a better perspective of the world. And I was always aware of that, even before I was a mother. Like, oh, when I have a kid, I know I'm going to see the world different. I'm going to have more purpose, I just knew that. I don't know why, but I did.
Yeah.
So when I got pregnant, I was excited because I thought, oh, this is going to be a great adventure. And it was, there were scary things about it. And pregnancy was not my thing. That's one thing they always tell you, like, nobody tells you. First of all, I didn't know. I don't know if I was naive, not well educated. I don't know what, but I didn't really know the process of giving birth. Like, I didn't know what a contraction was going to feel like or what was exactly happening to your body. Like, I don't know if I just didn't care, so I never researched it, didn't pay attention, never consumed the information. But then when you become pregnant, it's the most important information. So I got all this information. And I remember Remy Ma telling me, do you know what a contraction is going to feel like? And I was like, oh God, what? Because it was this big mystery of this, it's the most painful thing in the world. I don't know what it is. And she definitely told me, and she scared the hell out of me, but I was glad she did, because then when it happened, I was expecting it, right? And so people try to make, oh, childbirth is beautiful. And I know it is. I hear that from women who have easy 1 hour, 30 minutes, the baby's in the world. They did 2 pushes, the baby's out.
Yeah.
Not my experience.
Wasn't me either.
My experience. I was happy that Remy said to me, she's like, did you ever have a Charlie horse in your leg? I was like, yes, it's horrible. She goes, well, a contraction is like, that's happening to your whole body.
That's a great analogy.
It's a great, right?
Yeah.
But nobody ever, so when she said this to me, I have a big belly, I have no choice. I'm like, oh God.
Right.
But it gave me some, okay, this is what's happening. Your body is contracting. It's such like a Charlie horse. It's going to go. It's going to stop. You just got to get through the other side of it. But I didn't even know that. So it was so shocking when she said it. I was always mad at her. Like, why would you say that? That's horrible. But I was so happy she did, because then when it happened, I was prepared for it. Yeah. So I had a tough pregnancy. I was nauseous for 6 months. When I say nauseous, I'm throwing up every day for like 6 months, and everything that happens from that. So then you become dehydrated. You become you're tearing up your throat. So there's blood coming. Like just that type of stuff was going on for me. And I gained so much weight. My ankles were bigger than my thighs. My ankles were like the same size as my thigh. Like it was like
same
a
for
log,
me. I gained like almost 80 pounds. It was nuts.
Yeah, me too. Same thing. So pregnancy was hard. And then I had, the epidurals didn't work. They wanted me to try to I said, all the women in my family don't dilate. Everybody has to have a C-section. Let's just schedule a C-section. My doctor was like, no, you'll heal faster. It'll be better if you just have natural. I say, okay, I'll try. 20 hours of labor later, guess what happens? And 3 epidurals because the first 2 didn't work.
Yeah.
They tell me you have to, we have to give you a C-section because you're not dilating.
But you know what's interesting? I'm glad to hear that your doctor was advocating for you to have the baby naturally.
She was right. But it's just, for me.
But it worked out how it worked out. Because statistically with us, right, they will schedule a cesarean just because they can fill up a chart.
Oh, is that what's happening?
Yeah,
no, I had an amazing GYN. She's retired now. I wish she was still here. She's still here alive, thank God. But I wish she was still delivering, bringing babies into the world, because she wouldn't, it was almost, she would terrify me because nothing would go unchecked. Let's just rule this out. I'm like, how many tests? Like, she just was so thorough.
Yeah.
And she would sit with me for as long as I needed and give me all the information. She was really amazing. And so her advice was right.
Yeah.
I just, for me, I kind of knew in my own self, I was like, I'm going to wind up having a C-section. I don't know why, I just knew that.
You knew.
Internally, I felt like I knew. And she was like, no, but we're going to still try. I was like, okay.
And that's good that they let you. And it's good that you had a positive experience in terms of like people like pushing you towards your options.
Yeah.
Right. Because I feel like there's a lot of doom and gloom. And we talk a lot about that with different stories that we air on the podcast. But this is good that it can go the way it's supposed to go when you have people around you who are working in your favor. Right. So that
oh my gosh,
gives me some hope that there
good
are people out there
doctors,
that are
it's
doing the
really-
right things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have a good doctor, my gosh,
Different experience.
It's a different experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're not getting that, you should probably keep looking. It's the same thing like with therapy. When I always tell people like, somebody be like, I don't like therapy. I'm like, well, how many times have you tried? Well, I tried once. I didn't like it because I was like, okay, but it's like dating. You can't just go on one date and be like, a relationship's not for me. Well, what do you mean? You only had one date.
Right.
And it's the same thing with like a therapist or a doctor. Sometimes you have to like find your person.
Yeah.
Find somebody that communicates with you the way you like to be communicated, and just has time for you. Some people don't mind waiting an hour in the waiting room. Some people do. Like everybody's life is different, which your needs are different. And if your doctor doesn't feel good for you or is not filling those needs, then I highly recommend doing some research and trying somebody else. It's
And
okay.
finding your person.
They'll send the records over. It's
Yeah.
fine. So keep going until you feel comfortable because it is important. Those are
Right.
important things. So yeah, I was, it took, by the way, when mine retired, I had to run through a couple before. I was like, she was nice, but no.
Yeah.
I think I tried like 3 before I found one that I liked after that.
That's important to do the research. For
Yeah,
sure.
you have to.
Do you feel like, or how has motherhood helped your career?
I always talk about how like my career and my life kind of is the same. Like if I'm not happy in my real life, my career is not thriving.
Sure.
Because I put a lot of my own self, my real life self into my career, so it just kind of goes together.
Yeah.
So having a child and it changing me and making me, I don't know, just more accountable, more responsible, more thoughtful, that transfers into my real life and my career life and all of that. And then as your kids change and your situation changes, you evolve and change too. Now it's like I have a 20-year-old. So it's like I can call him. I had an idea for something the other day, and I can call him and get his take on it. And he's so smart. And both of them, Christian too. He's 17. And I run my stuff by him too, because it's nice. 17 and 20 is like a great age. They're old enough to like have real solid opinions that are worth hearing.
Yes,
what I
for
mean?
sure.
It's not like pacifying your kids just so you know what I mean? Like I'm like, my kids actually had a good idea.
And it's good to have that.
Love that.
My son's 24, and like I call him and I'm like, is this whack? Like, would you do like? And he's very like, and they'll tell you the truth, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the great thing about that age group is like they're like, Mom, don't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not the move, right?
Yeah.
So it's good to have that feedback.
It was the same thing in my house. They'll tell me, or nah, and then something they're like, yo, that's dope. You should definitely do that. That's kind of cool.
Totally.
So that's the evolution of like having kind of older children.
Yeah. How do you balance all this stuff, like motherhood?
There's no balance.
Everything you do
Balance
lot.
is a lie. Balance is, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't want to put that on anybody else. Maybe somebody has it. I don't know anybody that has it. I think we all have, or we could have a good moment and be like, oh, this was a great week. I saw my kids.
Yeah.
Me and my kids went to the thing. Me and my partner did this. I did this for work. Like sometimes we have a great week. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes I'm like, oh God, I miss my kids, or I just need time, maybe the time was short, or they've been at basketball practice or this, and I'm working. You have to just keep correcting. It's like you're just constantly fixing.
Yeah.
And trying to, sometimes your work needs a little more attention. Sometimes your family needs a little more. Sometimes right now, I need attention. Just telling Brittany I need a vacation like tomorrow. So sometimes you need it. And so you're constantly, and the thing about me, I don't beat myself up if the balance is off.
Well, I was going to ask you
because the balance is always going to be
Yeah.
off. It's always, I try not to let it linger too much. Like if I know my balance is off in terms of what I'm giving myself, and I go too long, I'm gonna start getting irritable because I know I have to fix something and I haven't fixed it. That will bother me.
Right.
But I do give myself the okay to it's not perfect. Nobody's perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect balance in life in general. Like in general forever, every day? You're balanced? How? Where? Who? Have you ever met anybody? Because I don't know them.
No. And I think a lot of moms have guilt that they build up. Like, I used to have like that a little bit, like, especially when I had to work a lot in the beginning and we didn't really have a lot of money. It's like I had to sacrifice and work, and I didn't have a ton of time to do all the mommy things that I really wanted to do. And like, so, and I had help, thank God, but I used to kind of struggle with that a lot.
Yeah, we do that to ourselves. We beat ourselves up, and we just do. At the end of the day, we're all doing our best. And I give myself a little, so it gives me a little comfort to remind myself that, you know, what we say to our kids isn't always the thing that sticks for them. Sometimes it's just with them watching us and how we move around through our life and how we treat ourselves. How we treat ourselves teaches them how to treat themselves.
Totally.
So sometimes it's okay. Okay, I missed the bake sale. It's all right. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
You know why? Because you're good. I'm good. It's okay. Maybe I'll try to make the next one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not to say that I don't ever have guilt. I definitely have. There's been, like, sometimes I'll miss something, or I'll be like, we're coming in, I'm late. I remember one time I was driving home. My oldest was in high school, and he had like a big basketball game, and I was stuck in an interview or something. I was so late, and then it was one of those days in New York where the traffic was crazy, and I just had a full like meltdown in the car. I don't know what it was about that day where I was like, I just want to get to the game. Why can't I be to the game? It was one of those days when you're trying, everything's going wrong, and then you just finally like, okay. And then after you're just like, I didn't make the game. It's okay. Yeah. And then sometimes you work so hard to get to the game, and then you get to the game, and they're like, oh, you were there? It's like you work so hard to do something. You're beating yourself up for something that doesn't really matter. A lot of the times, we beat ourselves up for things that are not the thing they're going to remember in 10 years or 20 years. Yeah. They're going to remember who we are. They're going to remember how we love them. They're going to remember the amazing things that we did show up for them for, or that the experiences that we allowed them to have, or the one time you told them the thing that, you don't even know sometimes. Yeah. You don't even know what's going to stick. So it doesn't really make sense to beat yourself up over the single things. I think if there's a pattern, then that's to be looked at. Yeah. Like if I never am at my kids, or I notice that when I don't do this, it affects my kid in this way, then there are adjustments to be made. Sure. You want to be mindful. I'm not saying don't be mindful of what the needs are in your family. But I just mean, like, don't beat yourself up over something that might not matter. Exactly. One game, one bake sale is not going to ruin your child's, whole childhood. Yeah. The childhood is not ruined because you didn't make the bake sale. It's fine. Yeah. And I think our kids know what type of moms we are, right? Of course. Because we set that pattern from the jump. And even 9 times out of 10, if you're the one that's like obsessing over the bake sale, you're probably a great mom. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. Like, you're probably a great mom. For you to even be obsessing that much over the one stupid bake sale that the kid probably doesn't even care about the bake sale, then you're probably a great mom. Yeah. So give yourself a break and, the hell with the bake sale. What advice would you give to mothers who are listening to this podcast about, like, just if they're finding themselves in a place of maybe not feeling like they're a great mom and like they don't maybe have a sense of balance, or, maybe they're in the process of family planning and they don't know where career is going to fit into their grand scope of like when to have a baby? Like what advice would you give? Oh, man. There's so many layers there. I think, well, as a mom, I think if you're feeling like you're not the best mom, then change. Then the first thing you should do is ask yourself why. Yeah. Because you probably know the answer. If you're feeling that, it's because of something. So let's answer the why. Why do you feel like that? And is that something you can change? Because if you can, then try. If you can't, then why are you beating yourself up about something you can't change? If you have to work 2 jobs or 3 jobs, or you're a single mom and you're trying to survive, and you can't change that right now. That's what it is. Why are you beating? Don't beat yourself up. Just do the best you can. You can't quit your job and be home. You can't. So if whatever's making you feel like that, I would say, what is the why? And then can you change it? And if you can, try. A lot of moms are just they're just trying to do their best. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the thing. It's like, forget about what the ideal with the commercial or the TV show you saw that you thought that's the perfect mom. None of that is real. Yeah. It's like, to me, being a good mom is like making space for your kids to flourish, letting them feel seen and loved. And, for me, I like that my kids could talk to me about anything. I value that.
Mm-hmm.
And that, people value different things about parenthood. Some people they parent differently. I like that my kids can tell me anything, the worst thing, and we can sit down and dissect it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, why did you do that? Well, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
Well, how do you feel now? Because I can't feel good, right?
Right.
Like, I can have those type of conversations with my kids. So to me, I have pride in that. I feel like I created a space with my kids where they can talk to me about stuff. I hope they do. I'm sure there's things I don't know, which is annoying. But I'm sure there's plenty that I don't know, just like my mother didn't know about me. But we're all just trying just trying our best. And what was the other part of that question? Sorry.
The other part was just like if they're in the family planning process,
Mm-hmm.
right? So maybe their career is like super busy and they're thinking about like, when is it a good time to have a baby? When is it good? I feel like as
never
women,
is a good time. Anybody who's a mom will tell you there's never a good time.
Right.
It's never the perfect time.
Yeah.
It's not the perfect time,
Mm-hmm.
ever. I mean, never is the perfect time.
Yeah.
But I think I can't answer that in a broad question because I think that decision is very specific to the individual.
Mm-hmm.
You know who you are. You could look in that, you take a minute, look in that mirror.
Yeah.
The baby's here today. How do you feel? What are you going to do? I think everybody that's a very specific question that only the person who's bringing a baby into the world or caring for a baby for the rest of their life can answer that. That inside. And some women may not ever want to have a baby.
And
I
that's
have friends,
okay.
and it's totally okay.
Yeah.
What do you mean? It's totally okay. It's great if that's your choice. It's so great. I have friends like that too, and they travel the world and they do amazing things,
Mm-hmm.
and that's cool. It's just a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
But if you do want to, just know that it's forever.
This is true.
And it is real. It's so funny because I remember I've told this story before, but I remember my kid was a baby and he was in the crib and I would always check to see if he was like still breathing. I was so nervous. I was like, is he breathing? You look to see if his heart is going. I was like, I hate this like anxiety, this nerves that came up. And then I was like, okay, when does this stop? When does this part of being a mom? And then when I had the realization that it never goes away.
Never.
That was like, I was almost angry at everybody. I was like, where was Remy on that one? She didn't prepare me for that. Like, where was anybody to tell me like, if you have a baby, there is a human being that's going to be on the earth that you're going to worry about more than you've ever worried about yourself. And you're going to, it's a responsibility forever.
Forever.
It's just, that's the one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are considering it, just know that. And if that's okay, then maybe you're ready.
Yeah.
The surroundings might not be perfect, but if you're ready, you're ready.
Yeah, and I think everything is circumstantial, right? And we sometimes won't move ahead with what we feel led to do because we'll put a career first.
Yeah.
We'll put other things first, right? So I don't think we have to be imprisoned to that in those choices, right? The timing is the timing. Sometimes we don't get to pick the timing. Like I certainly didn't pick the timing. But my son came when he needed to come.
I love that.
Yeah,
for sure.
It was like God's way of being like, you need this right now. Like this is a blessing and it might not be perfect timing and ideal.
Yeah.
But my son changed my life.
Aww.
He did. And I needed that, especially where I was in that space.
At that time.
So, yeah.
And you only have one life. And it's like, you have to just do whatever's going to give you the best life possible.
Mm-hmm.
And if children are not part of that, then have your best life no matter what.
Yeah.
And if children are part of that, then enjoy it, because it becomes like an extension of you. It's like getting a new arm, and now you have 3 arms for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Or 4 arms forever.
Yeah.
So that's your new life, and that's how you'll walk around the earth with your little. I have 3 arms, 4 arms. I have 4 arms now.
Yeah. And anxiety forever about them, right?
Forever the rest of my life, which is so annoying. It really is.
Yeah.
And now I have it times 2 because I have Christian and I have Nico. And so, yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, but it's worth it.
It's so worth it. It's the best
Yeah.
thing ever.
Yeah.
It's the best thing ever. Both of my kids are great. And then also, like, for people who can't have babies, I got to tell you, because I have a bonus son. He is such a joy in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you can't if your body can't make a baby, that doesn't mean you can't be a mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you from experience that you could love a child the same exact way as if you birth them, if you have them in other different ways. Even like I have my friend Adrian Bailon, well, Houghton now. She had a surrogate to have a baby. When I tell you she was obsessed with her child, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We beat ourselves up about that too sometimes. I don't want to tell her story because I'm sure that's her story to tell, and I know she's told it in different ways, but she didn't know how that process was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But if you see her with her baby, she's the happiest I've ever seen her.
Yeah.
That is her baby. It doesn't matter. The baby's not going to grow up and wonder, well, who carried me for the 9 months? The 9 months doesn't matter. It's 9 months. If you're lucky, you'll have a full life of years with the person who will care for you and love you. And, I'm just saying there's other ways to be a mother.
Yeah.
That are equally as meaningful.
Sure. Being a mother is just being a mother, right? It's an instinct I feel like that we've been blessed with, right? And I just feel it's about how you love on people, how you care about people, right? You could be a mother to many people, right?
Yeah, sure. That's so funny. That was my tag at one point in my Instagram. It said mother to many.
See?
Mother of many.
Yeah.
I feel like I've mothered plenty of people in this music business.
And that's great. That's great, you know? So, but thank you for this, Angie.
Thank you. You're really good at this. What are you nervous about?
I don't know. Well, you're a big deal.
You're really, well, that's very sweet, but you're really good.
Thank you. You're going to make me cry. Like that coming from you is like
no, you are, because you do it with purpose, so you can feel the difference. It's not like you showed up here with 5 questions.
Right.
Which is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
That's a different type of podcast. But I could tell that this is meaningful work for you. So
thank you. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope all the women that are listening to this conversation today, they are blessed and they take away just inspiration from you. I know this has been a great conversation for me, and hopefully you'll come back. I would love for you to come back.
I'll come back, whenever you want.
Chit chat and chop it up about motherhood. There's so many things.
There's
and
so many
topics.
Yes, you should do chapters about like topics. And so if you have a topic that is in line, then you just reach out and then we'll tackle that.
Thank you for that.
There's plenty.
There's lots. And we're both going into a whole nother phase of motherhood, which is a whole nother lens.
Oh my God, that's when we'll have to do it too. When Christian leaves the house and
we'll be official. We'll do the Empty Nesters Club.
Oh, we're gonna do the Empty Nesters Club with cocktails.
Right. Oh, well, thank you for this.
Thank you, my
again.
love.
Yes, and you're listening to Me Eternal on iHeartRadio. I am Kenya Gipson, sitting here with the legendary Angie Martinez.
Thanks, guys.